Estate planning or making a will and deciding what will happen to your money after you go is not just a bunch of documents, right? It is not just making your will and a living will and then dying and hoping that your family will understand what you will do. Similarly, when you start your life and you're 28, 30, whatever, or you just got married, somebody will come and tell you that you should take term insurance. It's very important. Perfectly right, especially if your wife is pregnant or if your wife is not a earner, or there's a big gap in how much you earn. If you are earning 40 lakhs and your wife is earning 10 lakhs, or take the case of you earning 15 lakhs and she is earning 3 lakhs. If there is such a big gap, of course you need term insurance. Of course you need to make a will. You need all that. But far more important, what I'm going to tell you is, communication within the family is far more important, right? It's not just a bunch of documents kept somewhere and your wife knows where it is kept. That is no use. That's not enough. Having a term insurance is good, but if your wife and children do not know what to do with the term insurance, that is again a problem, because you don't know how they're going to use the money. Will somebody come and sell them a lousy product? Will the money which they get from term insurance be used right? So you need financial communication, and it is very difficult to communicate all this in writing. Of course you have to write. Of course you have to sit with them and tell them what has happened. So first step, communicate. There is no escape for that. If you have a child who is say 20 years of age and is in this line, maybe doing chartered accountancy or planning to do an MBA in finance and done a BCom, it helps. But it does not have, they don't need a PhD in finance to be able to understand all the things that you have done, provided what you have done is not very complicated. But imagine a person, imagine somebody like me. If I've created a very complicated portfolio, there is art, there is real estate, there are REITs, there is mutual fund, there are direct equity shares, then such a real estate from which rent is coming, some land from which it's an inherited land but from where some crops are coming every year, and such a complicated portfolio. Will my wife even want to manage it? Forget whether she can manage it. Imagine having a 30-35 crore portfolio into such a complicated portfolio. And your wife saying, look, I need only 25,000 a month or 30,000 a month apart from the society charges, etc. I just don't need so much. Why would you have such a complicated portfolio? If your children are below 18 or rather below 15, then you don't want to give them too much of details and confuse them and create stress for them. It is not necessary to do it. So let them know that somebody will take care of them, right? And also please understand that it can be two sets of people. You can have your sister taking care of your daughter and your brother-in-law taking care of the finances. The two persons need not be the same. So you say financially so and so will be the guardian, physically so and so will be the guardian. Let the child make the choice. Where is the child more comfortable? Is she more comfortable with your sister, or is she more comfortable with your wife's sister or wife's brother, or you're very young and you have your parents, so are they more comfortable with the paternal grandparents or with the maternal grandparents, right? So you need to document all this. There's a big assumption that you have to make while making these will and other documents, and that assumption is that you will die tonight, not what will happen to you 10 years later or 15 years later. That doesn't really matter. So talk about it, write about it, tell them where it is. You don't have to tell them the total figures. You have to just say mutual fund, this is what you have to do, and pick up one mutual fund and explain and say same thing will be applicable to other mutual funds. So suppose you have one mutual fund where you have 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs. Explain what will happen and say there are other mutual funds and you will behave accordingly. Right? So do all that. Get children's PAN numbers, Aadhaar cards, everything updated. If they are above 18, make sure that that their Aadhaar card and PAN card are linked, that when they make investments, they make it themselves. Maybe they're making it online, but make them sit next to you and make them do. Make them doing is more important. Make your daughter or son pay your electricity bill, your telephone bill. Of course, it's going from your credit card. There is absolutely no doubt. But instead of putting it on auto, let them see that there is this account into which this bill comes and this is what you have to do to make the payment. Who is going to teach them all this? Definitely not the school, definitely not the office, right? It's not going to do, your office is not going to do a personal financial class for children. That is not going to happen. You were not taught all this. You learnt on the go. You either, or people like us were asked to make a check and go and stand in the queue and drop it. So you have to wait in the queue to pay electricity bills. Now it's being paid online. So at least by class 7, class 8, children understand all this, right? So let them do your ticket booking. Let them pay all the utility bills. Let them pay society charges. Let them even pay salaries of the employees who are at home. If you have a driver, if you have a cook, if you have a maid, if you have a gardener, whatever, let them make the payment. I would go to the extent of saying it is lovely to make all these payments online, but paying by cash is also useful, because children should understand that these services are got and you have to make a payment. I have a friend who gets her children to thank the maid every month and say thank you for helping us keep our house clean, etc. She explains to the children that they are not coming here because they want to come here. They are coming here because they need the finances, and we are hiring them because we are not capable of doing this ourselves. So please understand that you are the kachra wala, and the guy who comes to take away the kachra is actually the safai wala. So all this subtle financial communication has to go on to the children. They have to know what you're doing with your money, how you earn money, how much taxes you pay, where you invest, your philosophy towards money, why you give charity. Let your child give the charity from your account. That's okay. But at least he or she will know that you're giving so much of charity every month. Let's say you give 5,000 rupees a month, and every month you're searching for whom to give that money. So you find somebody who has lost the husband in COVID, or lost the parent in COVID, or something like that, and you say, okay, this month I'm going to give it to so and so, this month. So talk about it. 5,000 rupees is not a big amount or a small amount, but sit with your family, communicate about your will, communicate about your charities, communicate what you're doing. Just like how you would communicate about health, communicate about money. It's nothing wrong. In India, I think it is easier for a father to talk to his daughter about sex than talk about money. It should not be like that. It should be very simple, right? You should be able to talk about money, everything day to day. Your daughter or son need not know your net worth, but they should know your attitude. You should not say, oh, he's got 30 crores, he's giving only 5,000 per month. Ask them not to be judgmental. Whatever you're giving, maybe you're giving 5,000 per month to 10 people, right? So it is 50,000, and your daughter doesn't know. That's fine. But at least they should know the process of how you select the person for whom you're going to do charity for the month. Let your daughter pick up that person, right? You then say, I will do 5,000 rupees charity, you go and pick up, and put these conditions. It has to be only for child, it can only be for girl child, it can only be for senior citizen, it can only be religious. Whatever are your conditions, put those conditions, make those conditions, get your daughter or son to write in their own handwriting, create a personal finance notebook for them, a simple 200-page notebook where they write down whatever you're telling them. All this is part of your estate documentation, right? Because you are going to write a will and say X amount belongs to my son, X amount belongs to my daughter, but before that everything will belong to my wife, and after her death this kind of a split will happen. This is also necessary, drafting the will properly. Don't just go to Google, download and print. May not work that way. Go to a lawyer, it's not very expensive. Get it made and get it notarized, because anyway is going to charge you for notarizing even if you make the will in your house, right? So go make the will. Please also understand that lawyers will not understand all the implications of whom you're supporting. They will not even ask you. My lawyer did not ask me whether I should leave some money for my mother. Not that she needs it, but he should have asked. He did not ask that, right? So if you have had one marriage, two marriages, find out the complications, talk about it. If there is jewelry of the first wife which is lying with you, give it to the daughter from the first marriage. Let us not create a fight for that jewelry between the children, right? So understand all this, understand the implications, write it down, jot it down, sit with your family, discuss, then put it together in a piece of paper And then, so your will documentation or your estate planning is all this put together is estate planning, not just printing and saying, oh, here is the will, right? That's not enough. Thank you.